48 years in the life of an institution is not just a mere feat. In 2 years, ECOWAS will check its golden jubilee. To help me look at the dynamics the institution of ECOWAS has gone through will be a former member of the Community Parliament, Honorable Frederick Opare-Ansah. Function come up.
So I was actually in the ECOWAS Parliament for 2 terms, but 9 years. And the reason, instead of being there for 8 years, was because of Ebola. During the period of Ebola, the life of the Parliament had ended back in 2014, but we couldn't. A new Parliament could not be called because of the difficulties in moving around the sub-region, and so the Parliament then's life sort of hung in a balance and acted for almost a year. So committees were sitting and working on behalf of the Parliament until a new Parliament was called in later. So I ended up doing 9 years. Now, when you look at the protocol establishing the Parliament, there was a clear path of the Parliament starting off as an advisory body, and then becoming a co-decision body with the Council of Ministers, and then subsequently gaining autonomy to become a true legislative institution. During the period that I was there was significant push by the Parliament under the then Speaker Ecowas during the 3rd legislature, when we started really pushing to get the Parliament to take on its true function of making laws. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the Authority of Heads of States and Government to grant that until the life of that Parliament expired. The 4th legislature came in under His Excellency Cicero, and there was a bit of a tone down of what the request was. And instead of even a full co-decision with the Parliament by the Council of Ministers, what was granted was to say that the opinion of the Parliament would be sought on issues of, say, the community budget and generally on legislation, and giving some timelines whether you comment, you give opinion or not, it will move into legislation.
Is that the way to go? Because the current Parliament, the 5th legislature, its lifespan is coming to an end. At the beginning, I quite remember when it was being inaugurated in Niger, it came up strongly, electing. Then we have COVID, going to steady. There was an ad hoc committee moving to East African Parliament, the European Parliament. Would we ever get to that point where the European Parliament is? Because is it the fault of the Council of Ministers or authorities of heads of state who are not showing political will?
Well, I don't think it's a far-fetched idea to think that in the near future the ECOWAS Parliament will see its members elected by adult suffrage throughout the countries in the community. It would happen. EALA has shown the way. East African Legislative Assembly has its members elected directly. It is important because there are issues which are of community interest, especially the direction we are heading right now, where because of the issues of ICT and the development thereof, your borders are becoming almost nonsensical. I can sit in Nigeria, in Togo, in Burkina, and have access to an IP address in Ghana and do things as if I am in Ghana. And if it is a crime that I commit, I can sit in Nigeria and commit a crime in Ghana, or sit in Cote d'Ivoire and commit a crime in Ghana, or sit in Ghana and commit a crime in another country. And so when you don't have a legislative body which is having these sort of interests and dealing with the common issues, it could pose a problem. The EU has been able to fight some of these things because of the strength and the commonality of the laws that they've enacted through the European Union. Whilst there, one of the things I fought for and pushed for, and eventually we got somewhere, was the issue of roaming. You know, we started off, you're going to Abuja for a session and you'll be carrying SIM cards for Glo, for MTN, for Airtel in Abuja. And when you come to Ghana, you take it out of your phone and put it in your wallet. When you're going to Abidjan, you look for maybe the Orange network, and then when you come back, you take it out. You're going to Senegal, you look for a network there. You know, we eventually Ecowas has shown some successes, has had its trials, but I must say, on a balance, we could have done a little bit better than we are. Let me start off by saying that the fact that the community institution has not disintegrated means that we are doing something right. We've seen probably right from the onset when Mauritania decided to exit, but we've also seen other interested parties such as Morocco, all the way from the northern part of the continent, even make attempts to come and join ECOWAS.
Just to find out from you, that attempt of getting Morocco as a good decision, or the West African sub-regions stand to benefit from that relationship?
Well, for any community group, depending on how you've conducted yourself, you become attracted or attractive to some other countries or entities who may want one reason or the other to become part of what you are doing. I was just about to juxtapose that with, say, the EU, where after several years we saw their foundation shaken by the exit of the UK, and which began to let others rethink even their involvement in the EU. But clearly, ECOWAS has held together, notwithstanding the several challenges that it has been confronted with. Let me look at, say, our regional security, for instance. We have probably the longest border on the African continent as far as the Sahara is concerned, from the northwesterly part of Senegal through all the way to Niger. And it has posed some challenge to the region, because even international troops from the US, from Europe, have had challenges when they've had to contend with the conditions there, whenever they've been called upon to assist, or whenever they found it necessary to come to intervene. And I remember the case of the French soldiers in Mali attempting to extract their own. So clearly, we have a major issue as far as patrolling that border or securing it. And it has caused the downflow of arms from the northern part, especially when Libya kind of collapsed. It has also made the place a haven for housing some international terrorist organizations because of the loose nature of the area. And we've seen this lead to several incursions into the northernmost countries in the region. For the last several years, we've seen instability in Burkina Faso, for instance, which can be attributed directly to issues in the Sahelian region. And so, whereas we could probably have developed faster, this slows us down significantly, because in such instances, you see the region having to redirect much needed resources towards securing its borders and securing its people. Now, in terms of the actual community coming together, as a people, one of the major tenets of the community's union is that of the free movement of people's goods and services. I can recall the number of instances where Nigerian traders in Ghana have come up with issues about how they are being treated in Ghana because of their insistence upon the fact that the protocol gives them the right of establishment. And so, more or less, whatever a Ghanaian citizen can do, they should be able to also do. Sometimes there are reprisals by Nigerian authorities by making it difficult for Ghanaian products to enter Nigerian markets anytime this does happen. And in that regard, I think the institution has failed to provide the needed clarity on some of these protocols and provisions. And that will lead us straight to the issue probably of the Ecowas Parliament, which is supposed, as at this point, to have been clothed with the powers of a true legislature, but unfortunately it is not. After several years of existence, I think we are currently in the fifth parliament, fifth legislature.